What's up, traders? Gates Adams here, the Forged Trader, where successful traders aren't born, they are forged. 2 weeks officially into this, I'll call it a mini project sort of thing, where I'm just showing my daily results and sort of holding myself accountable to a rule which I had put in place for this period of time, which was to only take 2 trades in a day. It's been very fruitful. So first and foremost, let's go just over today's results. I did scale down. Yesterday, I talked a little bit about just the idea of whether or not I needed these big positions, because the thought process not being because I couldn't potentially make more. I mean, I think the proof is in the pudding. I can, except for when I put my trades on and I set a risk to reward. There's a basis of that risk to reward that I'm going to look for that justifies a win rate. So as you know, your ultimate results are based on your win rate and your average risk to reward, right? So at a bigger position size, I would take 100% of that risk, right? So if I hit my stop loss, that was it. I was toast, I was out, right? But on winning trades, it didn't happen all the time by any stretch of the imagination, but frequently enough, those big runners, basically that bring that average risk to reward up, oftentimes I was capping myself out on the 30% rule. So I couldn't really let it just run indefinitely unless I really wanted to hold back on taking payouts until I hit much higher profit levels. Now I can do that. That's not necessarily the end of the world, but that's not where I am in this process. I'm on 50K accounts. I've got $2,500 worth of drawdown. With my first payouts, I was on a $150,000 around, $150,000 accounts, and I have $5,000 worth of drawdown. So I don't want to mess with that risk to reward. I don't want to necessarily limit when I can take payouts. So I chose to size down. I took one trade today that was two micros, and then I took one trade that was, and that one ended up at about break even. And then I took another trade that was a single micro. It ended up being a small winner. I don't hate it for a single micro, 130-ish, 140-ish per account. Didn't suck, right? So I was pleased enough with that. So what was that, 120? How's my math, right? What about, call it 70-ish points? I didn't do the math today, John, sorry. Figure we can easily do the math in my head with single micro. So it was about 70 points. And it wasn't long, and it really was into after morning session. And I actually ended up cutting it early. Not cutting it early. I trailed my stops super aggressively because we were in that after morning session period. It was just moving so unbelievably slowly. As you can see right now, we're still kind of cruising along. My guess and my target was going to be at previous day high, which is right here at, let's see here, 21,920-ish, 915-ish, I guess. And quite frankly, I think there's probably a pretty decent chance that it's going to go there. But I also know me, and I can't be really very productive in my day if I have a live trade open. So I'm not going to do that. I was really hoping it was just going to rally and go, and everything was going to be, rainbows and unicorns. But I got a nice little move, and it just started oh man, it was moving so slow I couldn't take it. So in the interest of my day, I went ahead and I moved the stop up really tight. Got hit, boom, I'm out. I'm okay with that for the rest of my day. Net result, $2,700 on the day, $27.5690 to be exact. Total profitability on all of my accounts is $29,855. But wait, Gates, it was at $30,000 yesterday and almost $31,000, and you won today, right? Yeah, we took a $3,000 payout. It was officially approved, so that has been reduced from those initial 5 accounts. That does mean that I was trading my all 20 accounts today, and I guess really that's my point. If I'm trading one micro and I'm having a reasonable move and I'm making $2,700 on the day, if I can keep those types of numbers, I mean, that's phenomenal. I don't know anybody who bitches about $2,700 profits in a day. And to be able to do that on a single micro with nothing but room to scale up as I continue to grow and build these accounts and my skills and my discipline, which is what really this is all about. That's just a super exciting prospect. So 20 accounts is definitely, I'm gonna call it the shit. Also, I mentioned that I was going to keep track of where I landed for the rest of for the week total. I wanted to be over 10K. I actually just had a conversation with a buddy of mine about having financial targets in trading, and I'm very cautious about doing that. And I also slip up a lot. My goals in trading really primarily focus around quality execution, quality behavior as a trader, all of those things, right? Yes, at this point, I've had some profits, and those numbers do sort of, get into the process. But as I'm sitting here having this conversation, I'm realizing that, yeah, I mean, I had a $10,000 profit target for the week. Probably not the best way to manage my emotions. And as you can see, it's running up towards that previous day high as we speak. Anyway, that's not the best way to manage my emotions. I did hit it, 16,465 on the week. So that's total across 20 accounts. I don't have any others that are really all that close yet to payout threshold. I've got some that are in the 1,500 range, some that are in the 1,400 range, and some that are at the $600 range. And so I won't see payouts on a lot of this money until I get over those thresholds. And that's a thought that really makes me want to do bad things. I want to get all of these babies over payout threshold so I can see the actual fruit in my bank account from getting paid out on 20 accounts. And that is not the trader that I am trying to be. That is not what Forged means. So I'm working really hard to identify these problem areas and having those financial goals. And thanks to Sean, thanks, buddy, for letting me have that conversation with you. It's amazing how when we can't see the forest for the trees, but when we're talking to somebody else, we can see from an outside perspective so much more clearly. This is why I think community in the world of trading is so critically important. But more on that another time. Anyway, that's it for me for today. Finished up the week strong, super happy. Going into next week without a financial goal in place. I do have a little bit of a shift in how I'm going to manage my discipline. So taking 2 trades a day was good for me. But at this point, considering the lower risk that I'm taking, 1 to 2 micros max, I think I'm going to move forward for this next week and this next week alone, and then I'll reevaluate. I will be doing a max drawdown of 300 for the day. And I say this with a little bit of a grain of salt. It might go a little over 300. It's just really going to depend on where I need to place my stops. If you're doing 1 to 2 micros, there's not a lot of wiggle room on sizing. So, I'll probably risk in the neighborhood of $150 max per trade. Now, some of them will be lower, just depending on where those stops are and everything. But they may go a couple bucks over. And if that's the case, I'm okay with that. So if I ended up at 320, 350 down on a max down day, I guess that's okay. It's not what I want. And of course, I'm ideally looking for maybe just that one trade, that one big move that just takes off. We don't get those every day, but we get them frequently enough. So that's really the goal. But if I see an opportunity and it's my 3rd trade of the day and I'm calling it break even or down $100 or whatever the case may be, I will consider that a possibility to take that entry. It doesn't mean I'm going to take it automatically. Of course, all of the other factors have to be in play, but that is sort of my mindset on the discipline of what I want to be doing moving forward. And boom, there we go. We're pushing towards that previous day high at 21,915-ish. So keep an eye out for that. See if I'm right. Anyway, I appreciate you guys. I love you all. God bless. Have a wonderful weekend. I'll see you guys back here on Monday.